presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game. Big Ten champions. Big Ten champs.
National champions, yes.
Oklahoma City bound the Oregon Ducks.
Awesome day to be a Duck, man.
Boom inside. Touchdown Oregon. He gets loose. Fires. Hit it. Pops the three. Oh, yeah. It's all Oregon.
This is Duck Insider. Duck Insider.
It's about how to be a group of people that know how to love each other to the absolute fullest.
Pleasure, joy to be with them each and every day, and I can't wait for the future.
It's just fun to be a part of a community that cares, that is passionate, and when we come together, powerful things can happen.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Now let's go live to the Country Financial Studio to talk Oregon Duck Athletics.
Another win for the Ducks over the weekend. I'm not just talking about on the football field, also on the court inside Matthew Knight Arena. Both times, the second time that Oregon Volleyball and Oregon Football have been home this year, victories for both squads. And on the football front, a dominant 69-3 win at that over Oklahoma State. This was an impressive win. We'll hear from Coach Lanning in a moment. He'll say that it might be one of the best efforts on a particular side of the ball that we have seen since Coach Lanning has been in Oregon. Oklahoma State, granted, yes, last season they did not have a successful year in Big 12 play, but historically has been a very strong, consistent top 25 Power 4 level football team. Oregon on Saturday started strong, finished strong, and were strong throughout. A 69-3 victory for the Ducks, where Oregon scored on two of their first three offensive plays and never slowed down after that. Last week we talked about the balance offensively for Oregon. In the running game and in the passing game, they totaled the same amount of rushing yards and passing yards against Montana State. Well, Oregon's very last play of the game offensively against Oklahoma State was a negative 4-yard rush. The final totals between the offensive rushing stats and passing stats, 319 yards through the air for Oregon and 312 yards on the ground. If that negative 4-yard rush, which, by the way, is one of just 3 negative plays Oregon has had all season, ends up being a positive 3-yard rush, then we're talking about the second straight week in which Oregon has an exactly identical rushing and passing offensive yardage total. 319 yards through the air. Oregon had 631 yards of total offense. At halftime, Oregon was on pace for 1,000 yards of offense. It's one of the more dominant performances we've seen at Autzen Stadium in a long time. From my perspective, offensively, the way that Dante Moore slung the rock, 16 for 21 through the air, 266 yards, 3 touchdowns. We'll hear from the quarterback coming up later in the show, as well as a few other different student athletes. But I think Coach Lanning was more impressed with the defensive side of the ball. Only 3 points allowed to Oklahoma State. It really seemed like the Cowboys couldn't get much going offensively, especially in the first 3 quarters in almost any regard, and that was especially true in the third quarter, where basically on back-to-back plays, Oregon got an interception and took it back to the house. All that to say, it was really fun to be at Autzen Stadium on Saturday here on a Monday edition of Duck Insider inside the Country Financial Studio. Duck Insider brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Ryan Milano, I'm here with you to break it all down because it was thrilling to be at Autzen Stadium. There was a little bit more juice that was in this game with some comments that were made earlier in the week, but Oregon made sure to demonstrate that in between the lines and on the football field, the Ducks were the team that was more prepared and better equipped to win. 69-3, the final score for Oregon. 10 touchdowns for the Ducks. That leads to a pretty, happy Dan Lanning in the postgame. Still certainly some things to work on, but when you score 10 touchdowns, you don't allow one on the other end. I think you're pretty pleased with the result. Coach Lanning, he spoke with the media after a 69-3 victory as the Ducks are now 2-0. Let's hear from the coach.
All right. Obviously, a good result. I think there's going to be a lot that we're able to look back and say, okay, we can attack this and do this a little bit better. But overall, our crowd, always phenomenal. I think there were 5 pre-snap penalties on them. That's 8 on the year. That's a great example of Otson's impact. The communication on our staff, I think, has been elite. I've said it since the beginning that strength in numbers. We had a lot of guys play winning football. I think somebody just told me we had 28 guys make tackles in this game, which is huge. The more guys that you can play, the better you're going to be. I really challenge our guys at halftime to, set the standard as we come out. And, last week we had, I think, 4 series on defense, and they ended up scoring twice in the Montana State game. So this to come out of this game and be 8-0 in the second half with series with no scores was big. Ultimately, I thought our guys were physical. You could see that, and that shows up always, when you look at the run game. I thought we were physical in the run game. We gave up a little bit too much there at the end in rushing yards when we knew they were running it. So ultimately, good execution and opportunity for us to build off of.
Guys contributing on defense. I think you had 9 guys score a touchdown. Just the job you're able to do, kind of spreading the wealth that way, and how much that can stress an opponent with that many weapons.
Yeah, it's hard to prepare for when you know that multiple guys can have success, multiple guys can score. And again, the part that always makes me excited is seeing how the people on the sideline that weren't scoring, or the people that were in the game not scoring, are the guys celebrating the hardest, right? And we want to celebrate good football. It's about team. I've preached to our guys all week that our team is the secret sauce, the way that we're connected, and I think that showed up in this game.
Are certain wins more fun than others? Is a blowout where you're dominant from start to finish more fun than a close game, or do they all kind of fit in the same bucket for you? I
don't know. Not really. I get excited when I think we play to the level that we're capable of playing, and you might not realize it looking at it, but there's still some moments that I certainly went back. We had 5 penalties in the first half. In the second half, we had 1, right? So that's more conducive. That's our standard of play, but it's fun to win, right? It's fun to win. Tight games are a little bit more, exhilarating.
Second week in a row, hot start offensively, hot start defensively. What can you say about the team's preparation in the week ahead to kind of set that table for you guys?
Yeah, we've put a real emphasis on, our openers, our opening script. What plays do we feel really confident about that are going to get us positive yards regardless. And I think our offensive staff has done an unbelievable job game planning those situations, and our players knowing exactly, what to expect. I always feel like, players, if they know what coach is about to call, that's when you have the most success. They're anticipating what's next. And when we're able to, dictate the situation to our guys, let them know this is how it's going to play out, and then it plays out that way, that's a real positive.
What do you think about Dante open up the deep passing game and being able to stretch the defense vertically with some big shots to Decorian and Malik?
Yeah, and we had some of those dialed up last week, and they didn't necessarily become part of what we were trying to do. Some of those we probably tabled, right, because of the situation of the game last week. But we want to be a team that can beat you, by air and by land, and that showed up today. So we have some real deep threats. We have good those plays. Everybody's going to give credit to the quarterback and the wideout, but the key to that is unbelievable protection. And I think, the very first one, I want to say Jaden Lamar had a great block, in the core, and the offensive line held up, against some guys that are good pass rushers. So it's a big win for us.
Dan, defensively, 8 3-and-outs, 2 takeaways, with the exception of the run defense late or the 1 third-down conversion when you rushed 8. Anything that even sticks in your craw remotely about the defense in a negative way when it's that dominant?
Yeah, I think you said it. The run game, I think we can be better at. We're going to see what we're like blocking and shedding blocks. You're not going to get holding calls at the end of the game in a situation like that, and there probably were a few, but that doesn't change our standard. Ultimately, this is one of our better defensive performances since we've been here. I thought the coaching staff was really dialed. Coach Lapoy and the staff did a good job of knowing what we wanted to be able to prevent. This has been a team that's usually able to create a lot of explosive plays. You didn't necessarily see that today.
Coach, I know a lot of was made about the comments between you and Coach Gundy about the spending and stuff like that, and there was a lot about just pissing you off ahead of games. Did you and your team kind of have any extra motivation surrounding any of the stuff that was said earlier this week?
I told our team right before the game that it never requires extra motivation for an opportunity to go out and kick ass, but it never hurts when somebody pours gasoline on the fire. So I felt like these guys wanted the chance to go prove who they are. And I'm sure I got a lot of respect for Coach Gundy, but his press conference, he's probably saying, "See, I told you so," right? Like that's probably what his comment is. But that doesn't change the way we have to play to be a winning football team. And we have good players. One of our best. I don't know. Bryce Betcher played good today. He came here for a backpack and a T-shirt. So I'm really proud of those guys on our team that have developed into great players. Again, the guys that watched other people play last year are now playing for us. Like that's what makes this team great.
You talked a little bit just about that conversation that you had at halftime to have those 2 back-to-back pick sixes. Just how much did that really carry the momentum throughout the second half?
I think we already had the momentum, but it certainly didn't hurt.
For a second straight week, we're talking about the receivers and their ability to block downfield and just how.
Didn't you guys write that that was a big concern for y'all? Maybe you didn't, Zach. Right? You didn't. I heard a lot of people saying, "Man, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do at White?" I think we got some good ones.
For a second straight week, though, we're talking about how good it is. What does that say about what Ross Douglas is doing with this group and just the mentality?
It speaks volumes of our players, and it speaks volumes of Ross and his ability to communicate, and Coach Stein and that offensive staff. Like, it's a group that works together. It's a team sport, right? And to have that many threats that can, be dangerous on the perimeter and block really hard, like that's something I think you'll continue to see from our guys. Like gives us a chance to be really good.
Your running back depth is certainly impressive, starting with Noah Whittington, who had a career-long run today. What makes him unique so far this season?
He's the best teammate. He's an unbelievable teammate. And I think I said this before, but he was coming off an injury last year, and I don't know that people get to see what we get to see every single day in practice. This guy's got juice. He's never had a bad day. He's tough. He's tough as nails. And, guys from Peach County are, right? And he embodies what it means to be an Oregon Duck.
What went into choosing to receive the ball when you won the coin toss?
We're good when we score first, right? We got a really good record when we score first, and we felt good about our openers. So,
Coach, you often talk about how these situations in these games just being about you and just being about your team. Considering the word said on the other side leading up to this week, what would you note as the sole emotional driver into this performance today?
Us. It's still about us, right? It's always been about us. It's like our ability to ignore the noise is always the thing that's going to make us go and uphold the standard. Like I said, if you step on the field for us, in our mind, you're a starter, right? You have a standard to uphold. It didn't matter if it was the last drive in the game there's a standard, there's an expectation, and our guys have upheld that so far.
What are games like this and like to you for a coach when you're able to get so many young players in and speak to what it does for those guys' development?
I have no idea what time it is, but it seemed really long to me today. Did you guys feel that? Like, that's what I felt. Is like, I don't know why. Maybe it's because of all the in-betweens, touchdowns and stuff. So that's what it felt like to me today. But I love seeing – I told our guys at halftime I want to see everybody eat. All right, I want to see everybody eat and whatever. And that means eat what's on your plate. Don't worry about what's on somebody else's, right? Eat what's on your plate. When you get your opportunity, prove that you deserve to be out there and that you deserve to be a guy that can help this team.
10.2 yards per play, Dan, is, from what I can find, since at least 94, it may be the most ever here, and it might be the most they've ever allowed against a power opponent. What is it like to coach in a game like that when it's that dominant offensively and you score once again with that many drives to open the game?
We'll have to measure that when we play, somebody that measures up well against us. We felt good coming into this game. They weren't playing. I mean, they had their backup quarterback. I think they had some O-linemen down. It just wasn't quite the same team. So we'll see, again, what that looks like and get the opportunity. But anytime you can rush for what we rush for over 300, right? Anytime you can throw for over 300 and rush for over 300, that's usually a recipe for success, and especially when you protect the ball.
Last week it was Dante's execution of the 2-minute drill. This time it was the 4-minute drill. What did you think of that drive and running out the clock with as little time as possible?
Yeah, I think it's positive. I thought that as it got down there at the end, we got a first down. I thought the clock should have stopped, right, and then wound on the ready for play. But to be able to score, our goal is always to make sure we don't give the opponent the ball back, in what we call the sweet spot, right, that 2 minutes to 1:20, right? That's when you have the best chance of scoring. So to be able to give the ball back with less than 11 seconds left is a win.
Fake counter reverse that Dier scored his touchdown was something you pulled out last year against Oregon State, but this time putting Dier at running back or out at receiver, DeCorian lined up in the backfield. What does that speak to just Coach Stein's creativity as a play caller?
Yeah, our offensive staff does an unbelievable job each week. Those guys, those aren't really special plays for us. Those are like core plays that we feel like we're going to have a lot of success running, and Coach has a great feel for when to call those.
Coach, you mentioned Dante had a good game, and he's it looked like he took another step forward this week. Can you just talk about the progress he's made just from watching last season to his first game starting last week to now?
Yeah, I think he's just maturing really quick. And this guy's has a great understanding of our offense. There's moments in the game where we're about to go out and run a play, and he's saying, hey, I feel really comfortable about this. And then when you have that level of trust as a coach and a player, like, hey, this is what you want to run, okay, let's go run it. That's big.
I know your secondary didn't get tested as much as you maybe thought earlier this week, but what was the experience like for them to get tested on a couple plays to gain that experience as you head into Big Ten play?
Yeah, they have good wideouts outside, and we knew that was a threat. One play that sticks out, I think it was Brandon Finney maybe on the perimeter at a one-on-one, broke up a pass, really good position. So like those contested catches, we create a lot of those in Indy crossover when our wideouts are going against our DBs, and that competition in practice allows us to execute, in games, and that was a positive for sure.
Yeah, when this series was scheduled in 2018, each of these programs were in very different places. Is this what adapting and going from good to great and being built to last in college football in 2025 looks like versus maybe failing to do so and not adapting quick enough and falling behind?
I can't speak to any other team situation than ours, but I can tell you like that's part of what's separated Oregon for a long time is we're always looking, what's next and how do we have to adjust.
That's Coach Lanning after a 69-3 victory over Oklahoma State, brought to you by the Willamette Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center. Better cancer care close to home. Oregon going on the road this week to play Northwestern on Saturday at noon, and then the week after back at Autzen Stadium. Well, it's another orange and black OSU team that'll be at Autzen Stadium, and that game will also be at noon, as announced earlier today. Oregon State at Autzen Stadium, Saturday, September 20th, will be at noon. It'll be televised on the Big Ten Network, and of course, we at the Oregon Sports Network will have our pregame starting at 10 o'clock, and then kick, of course, at noon on the Oregon Sports Network, where you can hear from Jerry, Jorgie, and all of us on the pregame show before Oregon and Oregon State. Noon, the time announced earlier today for that game, where Oregon is looking to have a replicative performance against a team that wears the orange and black and has the initials or acronym OSU. We'll see. Oregon had a lot of success against Oklahoma State this week, a 69-3 victory, and the quarterback looked awfully comfortable. Dante Moore talking to the media when we return after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by one of your local branches today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
We know you turn to the Duck Store for all your game day needs. And for students at the University of Oregon, it's even more. Class supplies, jobs, a seat on our board, a place to take a quick coffee break. Because we're your student-first, non-profit college store, every purchase you make directly supports the very community we serve. From working in our counters to studying in the classroom, from directing our stores to cheering in the stands, the people we serve, the students, are the very people who are the Duck Store.
Duck Insider continues from the Country Financial Studios in 1 minute on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
When I smoke weed, I get lost in the music. I like to isolate each instrument. The rhythmic bass, the harmonies on the piano, the sticky melody.
Hey, careful, babe. There's someone crossing the street.
Sorry, I didn't see him there.
If you feel different, you drive different. Don't drive high. It's dangerous and illegal everywhere. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Hey, Dad, how do airplanes fly? What's in this box? Is this tree good for climbing? How are babies made? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Talking to them about gun safety in your home is a good first step, but you can do more. Always keep your guns locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
Back inside the Country Financial Studio, it's Second Sider, brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Ryan Milano with you, breaking down an Oregon football victory. The Ducks are 2-0, up to number 4 in the AP poll. Oregon continues to rise after 2 really strong performances at home at Autzen Stadium, and I think a big part of that is the quarterback has played really well. There were some questions coming into the year. Oregon didn't necessarily name a starting quarterback going into week 1. I think it's pretty clear Dante Moore is comfortable with the reins of this Oregon offense. 16 completions out of 21 attempts, 266 yards through the air. He threw for 3 touchdowns, 76% completion percentage. He also ran for a few yards as well, showing that he is a dual threat quarterback, showing he's a little more comfortable, a little bit of touch than compared to what we saw when he was a starter 2 years ago at a school that was also in conference. Now it looks like he is really in command of the offense, and he is dishing it out to many different receivers. He's finding ways to move the chains, and he looks very comfortable. He led Oregon to a big win on Saturday. Hearing from Dante Moore after the 69-3 Duck victory.
It looked like your head got driven into the turf and the guy hit your leg on the way down. Obviously, you came in and played, but how are you feeling then and how are you feeling now?
Yeah, it gets a little hectic down in the red zone. But I feel like overall, got to do what the team needs me to do and make sure we get them extra yards. And it was a tough hit, but I'm good.
Dante, coach was mentioning that you sometimes tell him on the sideline like you're feeling really comfortable about what you guys are running. Just from your start last week to just now, just how comfortable are you feeling in this offense and just seeing where your game is going?
Yeah, my comfort level just comes from repetition at practice. Make sure that Coach Stein does a great job, asking me throughout the week if I like a play, if I don't like a play. And, he's a player's coach, and as a quarterback, you love them type of coaches. He makes sure that I'm comfortable out there. And I feel like overall the repetition that we get at practice, the way we just do so many plays and make sure that we get extra reps helps us be out, go out there on game day and execute.
What did you see on that deep shot to Malik there for the 40-yard touchdown? It looked like the cover 2 just opened up for that deep post, but what were you seeing out there?
Yeah, all week we knew that, they were a 2 high team, and then when you rotate, in motions, they go to 1 high, and kind of just picked the safety, and he was low. He's in the middle third, but with Malik speed, he can run past everybody. So gave him a chance, and he's been doing that since he was at Alabama. He's been running that route for a long time, and that's a guy with the ball in his hands. He's gonna make a play, and he does a great job. So blessed to have him as a receiver.
A lot of creativity, a lot of multiple sets we haven't seen a lot lately from the Oregon offense. Just how fun is it to play right now?
It's a blessing, man. Of course, it's just, great to play in front of the best fans in the world, and they bring the juice every week. And it's kind of like, hard days at practice, hard fall camp, summer workouts, winter workouts, just the times where you be praying that the season can come faster because it's just so hard, with the workouts. But it's just amazing when you look to your left, you see the brother, and you look to your right, and you see your brother that, help push through the workouts with you and make sure that when it comes to game time that you guys execute. So love seeing the points on the board, but I feel like the best thing is just seeing everybody smile on the field.
The joy of scoring touchdowns on offense, but what's it like watching your defense score touchdowns and back-to-back pick sixes of that?
Yeah, that was crazy. I kind of told Jerry before the game, you owe me one, because he's for sure a ball hawk player on defense, and he does a great job, disguising different looks and making sure he gets the ball in his hands, and he did that today. P. Wood had the same situation of him, being down and catching that pick. So it just happened so fast, I didn't even know what was going on. It was a lot, but our defense does a great job disguising different things, and they know how to compete. And when the ball's in their hands, they're going to go score.
On that touchdown to DeCorian, it seemed like pre-snap you kind of knew that was what was gonna happen, especially with the coverage. So what did you see pre-snap with the defense, and how did that inform your decision to throw it there?
Yeah, we've been running that play for a while now, man, and we've had different receivers running, and it's always been a great look, at practice. But when we come into the game plan, DeCorian is a great route runner, and pre-snap it was kind of internal pressure, and Noah did a great job picking him up, but felt like I needed to escape out. And the corner just had his eyes in the backfield, and Corey made sure that when he caught the ball, he had to make a play with the ball in his hands, and he scored. But overall, I feel like the receivers do a great job making sure that they get what they got. So,
Dante, Noah had a career-long run today. A lot of fans don't get to know him like you do. How would you describe him as a competitor, as a teammate, and as a friend?
Yeah, his story is very interesting. The way he just pushes me at practice. I know this past week on Monday, we, had practice, and it was kind of like, you come off for a great win, score a lot of points, and you can get satisfied. And you can make sure, and Noah made sure that when we were in our stretch lines, he was like, I'm going to push you to day 5. And it was like, I kind of needed that. He's a vet. He's been here for a while. He's played with Bo. He's played with Dylan. He's played around some great quarterbacks. And he's just a competitor, man. And, he just has a great story behind him. You guys can ask him the questions just to get to know him. But, just overall, him just as a vet, I just love to have him in the backfield. And when I see him run and make them long runs, it's just, glad to see him smile and make sure that, he's putting on for his family. So it's a blessing.
So that the deep shot to DeCorian, it wasn't a designed rollout. You were just looking to make a play there?
Yeah, it was supposed to be a great protection, but they did a great job disguising my cadence, and they did a good job, jumping the snap. So Noah did a good job, though. He told me that he's going to take one for me, so he did it. He picked him up, but I feel like I just needed to flush out, and it was like a little, scramble drill, but overall, it's a good play.
Dan referenced the comments between him and Coach Gundy this week, saying back and forth, there's a little gasoline on the fire there. As a player, what, if any of that, did that mean to you, particularly when one of the comments was both complimentary of you and then referencing that it would cost them money to keep you here? Did any of that mean anything to you coming into this?
Yeah, you attack our head coach, it's like attacking, my dad, to be honest. It's like you're attacking a family member. And I feel like as a whole team, it's kind of, it hit close to home. And we knew that every week that, it's always going to be some trash talk happening. But for him to attack Phil, him to attack Coach Lanning, or attack our team, it was kind of personal. And this whole week, we just used it as fire to make sure that we push ourselves and score 69 points. And we did that. And it was a lot of fire under this game, but overall, I felt like we were a cool, calm, and collective. But Coach Lanning said, we're going to keep the foot on their neck and make sure we score as many points and try to break the scoreboard.
When you have performances like today, last weekend, what's film review like, trying to find areas of improvement?
Yeah, first thing is just protect myself. Took a lot of shots today that I shouldn't have. Protection things. Like I said last week, just working on fatigue. This past week, I made sure that I did a great job, pushing myself at practice, but also learning how to, work while I'm tired. And, like I said, these games can be a lot of scoring points, a lot of great stats. But like you said, there's always some little things. And when I watch film tonight and tomorrow, I'm going to have some things to pick up on and attack the week.
What was the feeling just getting to hit DeCorian on that deep one and be able to show off that more-to-more connection and how special that can be?
Yeah, more-to-more everybody loves, but I kind of love how he's just a young guy that, comes from Texas. He's a hard worker, very coachable. Just him being able to make the play with the ball in his hands, he does a great job. And I feel like overall, our whole receiver core, from top down, they all do a great job with the ball in their hands. And as a quarterback, giving them a chance and letting them do the work is kind of easy. But overall, I feel like our practice is just repetition is the biggest thing.
Dante Moore had a big day on Saturday. He's talking about the receivers, and the receivers had a big day because Dante Moore was putting it in the right spot, and then the receivers were making plays after he put it in the right spot, and the receivers were making him look good. He was making the receivers look good, and ultimately everybody looked good. We'll get to hear from some of the skill position players on the other side of this timeout. It's Second Side on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear Truckin' Awesome, Toyota Tundra's got heart-pounding horsepower. Tacoma is one rugged ride, and the 4Runner is tough as nails. Truck yeah. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by one of your local branches today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Dear Truckin' Awesome, Toyota Tundra's got heart-pounding horsepower. Tacoma is one rugged ride, and the 4Runner is tough as nails. Truck yeah. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
More Duck Insider from the Country Financial Studios after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
You wanted to be cool, which led you to smoking, which led to a pack a day. Then you met that special someone, which led to starting a life with them, which led to wanting to live longer. which led to quitting. Then you heard you may be at risk for lung cancer, which led you to getting a low-dose CT scan. If you smoked, get scanned. Talk to your doctor and learn more at savedbythescan.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
When your car is making a strange noise, no matter what it is, you can't just pretend it's not happening.
That's an interesting sound.
It's like your mental health. If you're struggling and feeling overwhelmed, it's important to do something about it. It can be as simple as talking to someone or just taking a deep, calming breath to ground yourself. Because once you start to address the problem, you can go so much further. The Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council have resources available for you at loveyourmindtoday.org.
I'm coming home to the place that I remember, back to the land of my first love. Would you spread wide your arms for this wayward son? I left my heart in Oregon.
Back live inside the Country Financial Studio. Ryan Milano with you on Deck Insider, brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Oregon football, a big win over Oklahoma State. And it was really fun to be at Autzen Stadium. It felt a little bit like a fall Saturday, especially when I showed up to the stadium. It was a little bit of that cloud cover. It was a little bit chilly. And then as the day moved on, it got warmer and warmer, and the sun started to shine more and more. There was a blimp out there. That's always cool. It felt like it started as feels like an October Saturday in the middle of conference play. And then it ended, and it felt like a really fun and dominant football game, and really great to be out at Autzen Stadium, which it always does. It was just a fun week, fun day on Saturday. I got to say, this weekend of the year, week 2 of the college football season and week 1 of the NFL season, is my favorite weekend of the year. So I was telling Scott when I came in today, and he clocked it right away. I was like, Scott, I feel great today. And he's like, yeah, I can tell. The energy's high. The energy is incredibly high. I love football more than anything in the world, and I love winning football more than anything in the world, too. And when you win by 66 points and you score 10 touchdowns, it feels pretty good. A couple of guys who had a couple of big plays over the course of the day, both of them touchdown scores. Jaden Lamar, who was fantastic, not only with the ball in his hands, but also without the ball in his hands, opening up plays for everybody else. And Gary Bryant, who has been one of the consummate teammates on this team and a leader in the wide receiver room, who had a touchdown score and also another opportunity for a big play. They both met with the media. The skill positions really shined throughout the course of the day, and I think that's because Oregon had such great blocking out on the perimeter and then talent at the skill positions that can make guys miss in open space. They looked really good over the weekend. There was just so much positive to take away from this Saturday, hearing from two of the guys that really shined on the skill position level. Jaden Lamar, Gary Bryant spoke with the media after the game.
Gary, for a second straight week, we've seen Will Stein just completely mix up the offense, different personnel, different formation. How much fun is it to play in an offense when you know that there's so many different things you can do?
I mean, yeah, it's amazing to go out there and just know, if we play at a level that we know we can play at, it's going to be total domination. So just going out there, play call by play call, whether it's a run or pass play, I think all 11 of us are in the game man, if we do our job, it's going to be pretty fun to come out here and play and compete against anybody.
Gary, what can you attribute to the offense's hot start 2 weeks in a row and the kind of the preparation in the week that leads up to Saturday?
Yeah, just being a leader for us. We got a lot of talented guys on this roster. And just doing my job, whether that's blocking or if that's in the pass game, making a big play, or even just running off for somebody to get open. Whatever I got to do, man, I'm full-fledged into it. But my main thing is just being a leader for these guys, man, to get us prepared for the team that we play each week.
Gary, what specifically feels different about this season than other Oregon Duck seasons you've had?
I think the main thing that stands out to me is just the connection that we have. The past 3 years I've been here, we've been a well-connected team, but this year it seems like the chemistry with everybody, the defense and the offense is gelling just so amazing, and everybody's playing for one another, so that's why it looks the way it does.
Gary, how does a game like today continue to speak to the increasing comfort level that Dante has back there? Last week, kind of working more as a distributor, and then this week being able to open up some of those deep shots down the field. Yeah, just having him feel comfortable that he has players on that offense that can make plays for him. I think he's seen that today, and he knows that. But just seeing it on Saturday is a little different. But the more that we can make plays for him, the more comfortable he'll feel throwing that ball to us.
Jaden, there's a lot of depth in this running back room. Can you talk about how it makes your job easier knowing that others can step up?
I mean, it makes it very easy, and honestly, it's a lot of fun for us to have that much depth because we know when we're not in, we're going to be able to watch our brother put on a show. All of us, we're very talented, and so it's very fun to watch, especially the young dudes. We got freshmen that can go out there and run, and we don't blink. We know that they're going to do the job, and everyone's going to do the job the same way. And so it's very comfortable to be able to go on the sideline and know that they're going to take care of business when you're not in.
For both of you, what is it like to be a part of a game at 10.2 yards per play? That might be a program record against a power conference opponent.
I mean, yeah, it's amazing. Like, just knowing like what we can do as a team when we're all headed in the right direction. The sky's the limit for us. So just knowing like, man, we got to just have a good week of preparation. Then we can go out there and perform how we want to perform. I think that's just the standard for this team. Like, it's us versus us each week, and it's amazing that because I didn't even know that, but it's amazing to see like, man, if you look up, you can do pretty good things when all of us are playing good football.
Jaden, what's it like as a ball carrier when you have the ball 20 yards downfield and you look up and it's just a sea of green parting the way for you?
I mean, that's what I feel like our team, especially the offense, has prided ourselves on this year, is just blocking downfield for one another. So seeing that, I mean, it's a great feeling, especially we got the receivers all the way down there, the big boys still catching up to us, chasing us. And so it's amazing. And that's why we're springing so many big runs. It's not because the front line's doing amazing. They're doing amazing, but the big runs happen because people are blocking on the perimeter and downfield for us. So it's great to see.
Jaden, time and again, Dan has described you as someone who embodies what it means to be an Oregon Duck, just for a great teammate, great leader. What does that mean to you, and what do you kind of do personally every day that helps you do that?
I mean, it means a lot, and I pride myself on just treating everyone the same and loving every single player that I'm out there with. Whether you play or you don't, I'm going to talk to you. Try to talk to everyone on the team, and I don't know, I just pride myself on that, just being friendly to everyone, treating everyone the same way, regardless of if they play, if they don't. I really don't care. You're my teammate, you're my brother, and I'm going to love on everyone the exact same.
Jaden, some pretty massive holes for you today. What is your kind of mindset like when you see just like that much space in front of you? Like, how excited do you get?
It's a great feeling when you get the ball and you see that much movement. I mean, they were taking them off the line every play. I mean, it feels great. Like, you get a lot more time to make your reads and everything, which is great for us. Our O-line's doing their thing. They're getting movement every play, so it's amazing to see.
Gary, on that flea flicker screen pass, what did it feel like to have all 5 offensive linemen out there blocking for you? And do you wish you had slowed down at all to let them kind of get some of those blocks instead of using that receiver speed to outrun some of them? And maybe you could have scored a touchdown on that one, maybe?
Yeah, it was amazing. Like, man, anytime I get the ball and I see 5 green jerseys and it's my offensive line in front of me, I know, like, man, they gonna move some guys around, man, to give me some space. But during the play, I felt like it was a guy behind me from Oklahoma State. But watching it on the film, I'm like, man, I had him beat by like 7 yards. I could have slowed down and you been a little bit more patient and made a cut back here, cut back there. But definitely feel like I could have had a little bigger play if I would have been more patient with him. But yeah, it was a good play.
Some explosives from both Gary Bryant and Jaden Lamar led to big plays, part of the over 10 yards per play that Oregon's offense averaged throughout the course of that game. A 69-3 victory means you put up a lot of points, also means you prevented the opponent from getting on the board either. Offense played great, so did the defense. Hearing from some stars on the other side of the ball when we return after this on Tech Inside on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by one of your local branches today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
When life blindsides you with an injury, you need a team that's tough. For over 30 years, Morgan & Morgan has been fighting for the people. This season, we're proud to partner with Oregon Athletics. Because whether it's on the field or in the courtroom, we're both determined to do what it takes to win. Morgan & Morgan, proud partner of Oregon Athletics. Injured? Dial pound law. Morgan & Morgan, 10150 Southwest 6th Avenue, Portland. Prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome.
Don't go anywhere. Duck Insider continues after these messages on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
There's danger out there. It lurks on highways and quiet neighborhood streets. It's more likely to kill you than a shark and more terrifying than the biggest snake. Distracted driving claims lives every day. Every notification, swipe, social post, video, or selfie while driving risks your life. So while you might think public speaking or the zombie apocalypse is scary, what's really terrifying and even deadly is distracted driving. Eyes forward, don't drive distracted. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
We asked parents who adopted teens to share their journey.
If you build a relationship, then it becomes easier. If you build trust, it becomes easier. As a parent, you want what's best for your child. To give them the love that a child needs is probably the best you can do for a teenager.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. Visit adoptuskids.org to learn more. A message brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
You know you make me wanna kick my heels up and throw my hands up and throw my head back and come on now. Don't forget to say you will. Don't forget to say yeah.
Back inside the Country Financial Studio, it's Second Saturday, brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Ryan Milano with you after a big-time Saturday for Oregon football, in which the Ducks rolled to a 69-3 victory over Oklahoma State. Bryce Betry led the team in tackles with 9. Tatum Tuioti made some stellar plays on the perimeter and got a few tackles for loss. And Jerry Mixon found his way into the end zone with a pick 6. All 3 of those defensive players made big impacts on the game. All spoke with the media after the game. Let's hear from the defensive players that led Oregon to a big-time defensive victory for the Ducks.
Bryce, your offense was perfectly balanced last week. You're almost perfectly balanced this week. I think 8 offensive touchdowns by 7 guys. As an offensive player, what kind of challenge does that prevent when the opposition has that kind of balance? And what's it like to see your team executing that way?
Yeah, I mean, first off, like, every week we go against the best offense, I think, in the nation. You know, it's like just that preparation aspect. It gives us a good look on defense. And then makes our job easy when the offense is scoring, you know, a lot less pressure and play free. So, you know, I love what those boys are doing.
Bryce, and you guys had 8 3-and-outs and 2 takeaways. As the green dot, what does that kind of performance mean to you?
You know, it's just regardless of who you are, as, you know, a defensive guy or a fan in the stands, you know, you like that kind of performance out of your defense. Obviously, when our offense is rolling, it's easy to play D, but, you know, defense wins championships, so I'm glad to see it.
Tatum, Dan said that this was probably one of the best Oregon or the defensive performances since he's been there. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think on defense, that's kind of the standard that we have in our system. That, like Jerry's pick, he do that in practice every day. Like, this is what our defense does, and we're glad that that's what we showed today.
Jerry, coach was talking about how at halftime he basically made it sound like he wants everybody to contribute, everybody to make plays, everybody to eat, I think is what he said. Just how personally you feel like you guys as a defense took that to score 2 touchdowns the way you did?
He always preaches 0-0 at halftime, so I feel like we came out with the right mindset. And look, they ended up with 3 points at the end of the game.
Right, Stan was saying the back and forth of the comments between him and Gundy this week put a little gasoline on the fire. Dante was just saying y'all took it personal when you are who you are and you're from where you're from. What, if any of that back and forth and references to $40 million and the like, what did that mean to you this week?
Yeah, you know, I try to just play the game the same every single week. Obviously, some things were said and some things were brought up, and, you know, throw a little fuel on the fire. You love that. But, you know, it's always Oregon versus Oregon, and we did, you know, played better ball tonight and came away with a pretty good win. So, you know.
Tatum, kind of speak to the development that you've seen in these past 2 years, especially now that you're, you know, one of the stars of the defense.
Yeah, I think this is one of the best defenses I've been on. A team that really is trying to get to the ball. That's something that we preach about all the time on this defense. Like, how can we get the ball? Because obviously the ball means everything. So I think just continuing to see development in our defense, and we continue to, like, these past 2 games, it's been a good game for us, but we continue to nitpick everything. Like, we can always improve, and that's something that our defense does a great job of going to the doctor and continue to work on things that we're not so good at so we can continue to develop, continue to improve as a defense.
Bryce, you had 9 tackles today. How does it feel to contribute to the team in that way?
It feels great. You know, I just feel like I'm doing my job for the team, and, you know, whether, you know, I just try to do my assignment, whether that comes in 9 tackles or 0. just try to do my job every play. Feels good.
2-0 last year at this point, but there was a lot of questions lingering about the team. It's a different feeling right now through 2 games. And obviously there's a lot of circumstances that are different, but there are things in your mind that stand out. They're the biggest reason why things seem a little more comfortable for you guys through 2 games this year as opposed to last year.
Yeah, I'd say what just comes to mind is energy and effort. Not to say we didn't play with that last year, but just like on tape, defensively, offensively, it's like incredible, the effort and energy you see out of guys. We may be young and with new guys, but that's what I love to see is guys are trying to prove themselves. I got a bunch of young guys off the bench proving themselves, and everyone's playing hard all around the board, so you love to see it.
Bryce, shout in Autzen Stadium within the team seems to have a new juice this year. Is that just me noticing that, or do you guys add a little extra oomph?
When you're winning by that much, it definitely helps the cause. But when the fans get into it, we get into it, and I think vice versa. We feed off each other and that energy. That was a special one today. That one was awesome.
Payton, we've talked a lot about your development into just being one of the most consistent players on this team, but with your pass rush specifically, it feels like there's just a little more strength on the bull rush, a little more quickness on the stunts this year. Do you feel that on the field?
It's definitely something that in the offseason I try to attack. But obviously I think me and the whole D-line did a good job just trying to affect this quarterback, because we know each week if we affect the quarterback, we know good things are going to happen.
Jerry, TV caught after the interception. It looked like you were giving the football to your mom, and then somebody was trying to get the ball back. So first off, why was it important to give it to your mom, and then did you all end up getting the ball back?
I told her before the game I was going to get a pick for her, so I felt like giving her the ball was something I should do. And then their EQ people took the ball, but our guy, Kenny Farr, he got it back from me. I got the ball back, yeah.
Bryce, one thing that stood out this year is the receivers and their blocking downfield. As someone who goes against them in practice every day, what have you noticed about that group that's really stood out this year?
I love it. Like pre-practice and even post-practice, we got a lot of receivers that are talking to linebackers and saying they're going to block us and, let us know when they do. Guys will do it in the past, but they don't really, they aren't about it. This is the first time in fall camp and even in a team run where guys will, try to block you. And, it's very rare that they get it done with, Jerry and I. But, sometimes they'll catch you, and it's good competition that's showing up on game day.
Clearly, the competition throughout practice has shown up on game day because both sides of the ball look really strong. Jerry Mixon on that podium, he got a pick 6. Payton Woodyard also got a pick 6 about 3 plays later. Something in the water, maybe? I don't know. Payton Woodyard, he had a pretty strong game. Hearing from him after the game.
What did you see from the quarterback on that play, and just kind of how'd you get yourself into position to make that play too?
Just following my rules on the play. I was on the tight end block, and I kind of just sunk back in our D line. Coach talks about rushing coverage. Our D line was all up in the quarterback's face, and he just threw it, and it just ended up in my hands.
Payton, before the game, they played Coach Gundy's comments about, their quarterback making his first career start, and he wasn't sure if the crowd was really going to, play a factor into it. And so I know you guys pressured him, made his life hard, but how much did that crowd kind of impact and help you guys and feed off and just making him an overall tough day for him?
I feel like every home game, being on defense is just you hear the crowd, and they're loud. They get loud every down. So I definitely think that's an advantage for us, and I think our crowds will keep bringing that every game.
One thing that's really stood out this year is the wide receivers and their blocking downfield. As someone who goes against that in practice every day, what have you seen from them that stood out this year?
Just the whole offense in general, getting hats on hats. You see all our O-line just running to the ball, all our receivers running to the ball, and they help us get better. They blocking us, and we have to get off those blocks, and it's definitely iron sharpens iron.
Still a lot of rotation at that second safety spot. Does that kind of push you to be at your best on every snap?
For sure, bro. We got a lot of depth at every position. We got 4 guys at least at every position, and we're just pushing each other each and every day at practice and in the games, just pushing each other to get better. And yeah, definitely the competition definitely brings the best out of us.
You, Kingston, Aaron, 3 guys who came in together at the same time last year as safeties. What's the relationship like with those guys, and do you feel that chemistry when you're on the field with them?
Oh man, that's great, bro. I love both those guys. I love them. I love Dylan, and I love all the DBs in our room. We all spend time with each other. We go bowling, just hang out with each other, play video games, and yeah, we're always just texting in our group chat, just messing with each other. So our relationships are great with each other.
Seemed like today, especially for the safeties, a big importance was just getting downhill and stopping the run. Is that something that you guys focus on as a group, and how do you focus on it?
It's definitely something we take pride in. We're always coming downhill every practice, seeing who's gonna pull up, who's gonna show up, and lay down a big hit. And you definitely seen all of our safeties today come up and make tackles, and I think that's something we pride ourselves in, being able to not just play the pass, but also play good in run support.
As a defense, you guys only allowed one trip down to the red zone, and it ended up just being a field goal. Obviously, red zone defense is important, but how much has it stressed you guys in the weeks leading up to the game, or the days leading up to the game? Excuse me.
Red zone defense is definitely an emphasis. Just being able to not let them get in that end zone is something that we take pride in. Coach Tosh harps on it, Lanning harps on it, and yeah, for sure.
Payton Woodyard had a pick six, had a strong game coming down from that safety position. And I'm not saying that I had anything to do with it. But what I am saying is that I did interview Payton Woodyard for our OSN pregame show for last week's game. There may be some correlation in there. It also may be the preparation that's put in practice and the film that was watched and him being in the perfect position because Oregon scouted it that way and he's a supreme athlete. But it should also be mentioned that I did interview Payton Woodyard for our Oregon Sports Network pregame show. So whoever I get this week, you got something to live up to. Maybe. Maybe I had something to do with it. Maybe it was the preparation and practice by the football team. Who's to say? Who's to say? Great weekend for Oregon football. Strong weekend for a lot of other sports around the Oregon Athletic Department. We're getting you ready for the rest of the week and breaking down a pretty complete athletics weekend when we return after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, we're more than just an award-winning golf course and practice facility. Our events team offers all-inclusive event pricing that allows us to take care of all the details while you enjoy your event. Our indoor and outdoor venues offer you a wide variety of fully staffed options that put the focus on you. From weddings to business and social events, at Shadow Hills Country Club Events Center, you get the benefits of a resort atmosphere and amenities in a peaceful country setting, just minutes from downtown Eugene. Call for a tour today or visit shadowhillsevents.com.
Hey Duck fans, at Country Financial, they make insurance easy. Whether you're shopping for home, auto, or more, their representatives will take the time to understand your specific needs and explain what options work best for you. Worry less and feel more confident knowing you're covered. Visit countryfinancial.com to get started today. Experience more with Country Financial.
Auto and home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, and Country Casualty Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
Duck Insider continues after this timeout on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
You say you never give in to a meltdown and never fill your feed with kid photos. You say you'd never put a pacifier in your mouth to clean it and never let them run wild through the grocery store. So when you say you'd never let them get into a car without you there, no, it can happen. 1 in 4 hot car deaths happen when a kid gets into an unlocked car and can't get out. Never happens. Before you leave the car, always stop, look, lock. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Let's take a moment to breathe. Deep inhale. Extend your spine. Remain focused on what you're doing. If safe to do so, exhale slowly, leaning to one side. Inhale back to center. If safe to do so, exhale slowly to the opposite side. Find mental health resources at loveyourmindtoday.org. This message is brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
Back inside the Country Financial Studio, it's Duck Insider, brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Ryan Milano with you after an Oregon football 69-3 victory over Oklahoma State, in which the Ducks move to 2-0 now on the young season. Oregon will hit the road this week to play Northwestern at noon Pacific time in Chicago or Evanston, in Illinois, where, Northwestern, where they play on their temporary field while their new football facility is being constructed, which means that we'll have an early morning pregame show here on the Oregon Sports Network starting at 10 a.m., getting you ready for a noon kickoff. Well, it's big noon kickoff, so it's a 9 a.m. kickoff. It's noon local time. Pardon me. It is a 9 a.m. kick because it's noon there, which means that it's an early kick, which means we'll have a 7 a.m. pregame show. Yes, 7 a.m. pregame show for a 9 a.m. kick against Northwestern in Illinois, where Oregon will be going on the road for their first road game as the Ducks are 2-0 and number 4 in the AP poll. Also, Oregon Volleyball this week got a big win over Colorado State, a 5-set, 3-2 victory in which Trent Kirsten had to mess with his lineup a little bit late. It certainly worked for Oregon Volleyball as they continue their winning ways. They are now 5-0 and got their 1,000th program win. Oregon Ducks, 1,000 wins as a program. Looking forward to the rest of the week in the Toyota Women's Sports Schedule Spotlight. Oregon Women's Golf, they're kicking off their season today, rather teeing off their season today, as I should say, at the 2025 Annika Intercollegiate. Oregon is the highest ranked team in a loaded 12-team field that features 4 total schools ranked inside the top 5. Oregon is ranked number 2 in the country, as well as 5 inside the top 10 and 7 inside the top 12. Oregon Women's Golf starting their season today as we speak. They are out on the course getting their season underway. Oregon Volleyball will be back in action on the road throughout this week. Starting on Thursday, they will play against San Diego State, then Long Beach State, and then UC Riverside. So Thursday against San Diego State, Friday against Long Beach State, and Saturday against UC Riverside down in Southern California. Oregon Soccer off for a few days. They won't be back in action until next Saturday, where they will start conference play, going also to Southern California on the road to play UCLA. That's your women's sports schedule spotlight brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. A big week ahead as we continue to roll through the meat of the fall season. Joey's back tomorrow. Go Ducks, everybody.
Put your phone on D&D. That means that do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always sing with me. So put your phone on D&D. That means that do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe.